Hello everyone, it's Lel and it is time to talk about one of the best episodes from Wonderful PreCure, episode 30. This is peak PreCure. I loved this episode so much. Let's go. The episode starts with Niko talking to Mei, talking about the Mirror Stone. And Niko-sama says that the Mirror Stone is part of Niko Daya or Niko Diamond. I still find it very funny that everything related to Niko is called Niko something. Niko, you're very megalomaniac. So Niko is saying that there are two things that happened in the past. She gave that stone so that to fulfill a wish that animals had, which was living together in harmony with humans. That is why that stone existed. That is why she gave that stone to humans and animals. But then she took it back, or she took the power back from the stone, at least, because humans started using this stone to their own gain, and they started exploiting the stone and they drove the animals away so that the animals could not use the power of the stone anymore. They monopolized and manipulated the stone. Also, in the past, the humans were also responsible for the extinction of the wolves, of the Japanese wolves. I don't remember the name of the wolves specifically, but it's the wolves that are the victims of everything and now are the villains of Wonderful. They've been extinct because of humans. So the two bad things that happened in the past happened because of the humans. And both things are related to Niko, or at least Niko feels responsible about them. And Niko mentions that she wants to quell the anger of the wolves. And then she also mentions that if the PreCures are not able to do that, she's going to take their power away and do it herself. Because she was very surprised. She didn't know that the Mirror Stone could give power to someone so that those people or those animals could become cures. For Niko, that was a surprise. That was not something she intended to do. And so she told Mei that if the cures are not able to stop the wolves, she's going to take their power back and stop the wolves herself, because she feels responsible for that. And since the power of the cures, it comes from the stone, it is also part of Niko's power, she will take them back so that she could become stronger and stop the wolves. She could not do it the first time. What makes you think you're going to be able to do that now, Niko-sama? What's really going on here? And also, when Niko was telling this story, we saw a shadow. And Niko is, or used to be, bigger than a unicorn. It seems she had big, flowy, long hair. I'm now very curious to see the real Niko-sama. And that is also mentioned by the villains, because then we were able to see Gao and also Toramen Zakuro. And Gao mentions that they were talking about the PreCures, and Gao mentions that now he understands what was actually stopping his plans, and now he knows it is the PreCures, or it were the cures. And then Zakuro also mentions that Niko was with them, and then Gao was like, okay, now we need to take it seriously, because they were not taking the PreCures seriously. And then Zakuro says that Niko-sama is way different than she was before, and she is way tinier than she was before. So she is a different Niko. I'm very curious to learn more about the past, what's really going on with Niko-sama. And Niko is proving to be a super interesting character. I am loving Niko-sama. And then it's very funny because they were talking, and then simply Gao fell into a slumber. Like, his power faded and he slept, and so he ended closing his door, and then both of them were there then talking by themselves. His power simply faded away. We know that he is not in his full power, but it was very funny the way it happened. And then Torame and Zakuro started discussing, and then they did Jaken Pon, Torame won, and then he attacked. I mean, it was obvious because he was the original attacker last episode. And so we see that the Gaogaons are wreaking havoc in Animal Town. Animal Town is into a curfew. No one can leave their houses. I really like how there's this chaos and sad atmosphere in Animal Town, very different from the lively Animal Town that we've seen before. And then we see, like, in Iroha's house, the vibe is bad. And then, like, Iroha's mom is very worried about animals that might be hurt. I love that. I love how they're able to connect everything. And then Iroha's dad is like, okay, let me make something for us to eat. Iroha doesn't want to eat. They notice there's something weird about it. And then Iroha goes to her bed by herself. We also see Mayu and Yuki. Mayu is very scared, and she does not know what to do. She was destroyed of what happened to Iroha. And I can understand Mayu because Iroha is so chill. She is always so cool. She's always trying to befriend everyone. She's always trying to be nice to everybody. And it's very hard to take away Iroha's balance. And then it was taken away from her. So Mayu does not know how to help Iroha. She was desperate. And she was also scared of what was going on. And then I really like that scene of Mayu's mom baking because, at that point in time, she can't do anything. No one can really do much to resolve the situation, apart from the wonderful girls. But Mayu's mom did what was reachable for her. She baked some cookies, and they were ready for anyone who needed at least something sweet, something warm, at least a support. That's all she could do at the time. And I love that. I love it. She's a parent. She knows how it is that sometimes you can't resolve an issue, but you can lend a helping hand. You can do at least a little something that might not resolve, but it might help. Love it. And then we get to Satoru as well. Satoru is desperate. He is trying to do something so that he is able to help them, but he can't. He doesn't have magical powers. He cannot fight. And I have two things to say about that scene. The first one is when he's asking himself something like, I want to help, but I don't know how to do it. I can't do it. I don't have any power. I was like, okay, this is like an introduction to his character arc to become a magical warrior or something. This is the first interpretation I had from that. But then, after seeing the full scene, I have another interpretation. So we get to a point in which Daifuku asks to leave his own little house. And then Daifuku sits down where Satoru was sitting, and he, stomps a little bit. And he was basically telling him to not give up and telling him that what he was doing was good enough already. What he does and the help he gives the wonderful PreCure team is already good enough. He is also a warrior on his own merits, on his own way. And I really like that because if we go back to earlier days of Wonderful, especially like in the first 10 episodes, if Satoru was not there, Wonderful and Friendly probably would not have been able to be so successful in their endeavors as in saving the Garugarus. He was fundamental. So I love that about his character. And then we start getting to the resolutions of each of the duos. First, Iroha and Komugi. Komugi gets back, she was eating. She comes back to the bedroom and she talks to Iroha. Iroha is depressed. She does not know what to do. And then Komugi just tells her something very simple. You want to be friends with the wolves? Iroha says, yes. And then Komugi's like, so let's be friends with the wolves. At the start of the show, Komugi's world was basically Iroha. And I even remember saying that it was getting a little tiring at a certain point. But then, for Komugi, her world is much more colorful now. It's much more fun. It's wonderful. Why? Because she made lots of friends. Mayu and Yuki, Satoru and Daifuku, the people at school, the people in Animal Town, the animals in Niko Garden. So many friends. That is all because of her and because of Iroha. Iroha made it possible for Komugi to make so many friends. And life with friends is much more wonderful. And so we can do it. We can be friends with those wolves. It is some sort, in a way, an innocence. But for them, it's their world. It works very well for those two characters. It's incredible. And it's so strong. So strong. I love it. I found it stellar. And then we go to Mayu and Yuki. Torame is in Animal Town and he's howling. When Yuki hears the howls, she says, that could have been me. Because she could have been in Torame's place, driven to extinction in Torame's place. She could have been a dead animal brought to life, full of anger towards humans. It could have been her. Mayu saved her from this fate. And I love when she tells Mayu, you are timid, but you're not weak. Because that is a great way to sum up Mayu's character. A great way to sum up Mayu's character. And I love it. I think Mayu grew so much. And now, again, for Yuki, it's always been Yuki and Mayu. But not only that. Now, it is not only Yuki and Mayu anymore. Mayu has the power to not only help Yuki, she also has the power to help Iroha from the situation she's in. And Yuki was there to remember Mayu of this. And Yuki also reminds her, it's not just me and you who is fighting. You don't have to be afraid. We're not two. We're four. I'm getting a little emotional here because I love the idea of us having wonderful and yonderful. But I also love the idea of Yuki finally opening up and understanding that everything that she's going through and everything that she's been through, not only with Mayu, but with Iroha and Komugi, has a lot of value. And then they get together and they transform. And now they don't have to transform separately anymore. All four of them can transform together. They finally have created a bond strong enough to be wonderful. The four of them are wonderful, and they are able to finally transform together and pose together as one. Wonderful PreCure. And the bond that they share is really strong. And so when they start fighting, Yuki says, oh, we fought by the duos, and now we have to fight together because this will make things easier. They do not succeed, but they stand up, they try again, and they use the killing animal powers. I found it a little weird. Like, it was really cool, the way they used the powers, the poses that they did. But I was like, what are they actually trying to accomplish with this? I did not really understand what they were trying to do with the Gaogons at that point. I think I missed something. But ultimately, I really believe that it was really them trying to show that they are giving it their all for what they believe in, which is to make friends with the wolves. And Niko was ready to take their powers away. And it's not that Niko believes that they are weak or that they do not deserve the power of cures. It's that Niko feels she is responsible for that mission. She's responsible for the fighting. She is responsible to stop the wolves, not those girls. They have nothing to do with it. My responsibility. You know, that's how Niko feels. At least that's how I interpret it. And then Mei stops Niko, Dame! And Niko is shocked and she starts seeing that those girls are ready to do whatever it takes. And because of that, Niko shares a little bit more of her power with them. And then the wonderful ribbon castle is born. As I was saying before, the bonds of those four girls, the bond is so strong that it created a new power. Eternal Kizuna shower. Kizuna means bonds. Exactly why this attack or this purification move has this name. And I love the new visual for them. I think they look incredible. Oh my god, I love it. It's so fluffy. It's so full of feathers. It's colorful. It's pretty. I love the attack. So beautiful. I released a reaction here on the channel if you'd like to see. But just talking about the attack very fast, loved it. Really, really nice. And then they are ready to talk to Gaon. And they tell Torame, I want to talk to Gaon. Where is he? We want to talk to him. We want to befriend him. As well as Torame, obviously. They are definitely going to be friends with everyone at the end. But they want to talk to Gaon. And so Torame leaves. And then they help the scared Gaon. It must feel way scarier than just being a garu. And then they help. And then it goes back to Niko Garden. And I forgot to mention, it was very funny because while they were fighting or while they were in the action scene, people in Niko Garden were watching. They were live streaming the action scene to the Niko animals. That was interesting. And then at the end, Niko is now going to stay on Earth. And Niko is a diva. Big diva, the way she was posing. I loved that so much. And obviously, Iroha's parents accepted her. I just left another scene to the end, which is that moment in which Mei is really sad because Mei felt that he did something wrong by telling Dame to Niko-sama. And so he's like, okay, I'm not the good butler anymore. You can't stay with me as your butler. And she was like, you make mistakes, I make mistakes. So I really like that Niko understands that for all the things she did, some of the things that she did might not have been the right things. And she also makes mistakes, and she will also atone. She will also try to atone for her mistakes. She will also keep trying to do her best to make it right for the things that happened. We don't exactly know what happened. We know a little bit, or we do know Niko's version of what happened. Gaon might have another perspective on other things, and I'm very curious to learn more and to see the villain side of all of this story. Very, very curious for that. There's something else about Niko-sama that I forgot to mention while I was recording the video, which is the fact that Niko mentions that everything she does is to make the animals happy. She feels she has a responsibility to take care of animals. And that might also be the reason why she feels responsible for the fact that the wolves have been extinct. And she feels like she failed them because they could not be happy. She could not make them happy. Overall, I feel like Niko can be a super interesting character. Like basically everyone from Wonderful. And so high hopes for Niko-sama. Anyways, episode 30. What a blast this was. I feel like the strongest thing about Wonderful PreCure definitely not the cure part. The characters are so well written. Everything is super well constructed. What the hell were those scenes, the dialogues between Iroha and Komugi, and then Mayu and Yuki? The animals uplifting their owners. I love it. It is incredible. And obviously, I feel like Wonderful PreCure is going to navigate this because animals and humans, they have a very good relationship in Animal Town, and they're going to show it's possible. But I feel like a big chunk of reasoning why it's possible, it's because of the animals. And the animals have proven in this episode that they are able to bring the best out of their humans. That is what Komugi did to Iroha, and that is what Yuki did to Mayu. Anyways, this was my view on episode 30 from Wonderful PreCure. Please leave yours in the comments. Let's keep talking about it. Anyways, babies, this is it for now. I want to take this little time to thank the members of the Magical Cinnamon channel. If you're a member, thank you very much for your support here on YouTube, on Patreon. If you support me on Throne, thank you very much. And I just want to say that I uploaded a wrong version of my reaction video. I uploaded it without editing. So if you've seen it, you haven't seen it. Okay, now the right version is there. Anyways, babies, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, bye bye.